Hi everybody. Murphy wants to show you a couple of things. Say hi, Murph. He's a good dog. You can see he's blind. His eyes are covered in cataracts. You can see a little bit. He's a pretty awesome dog though. Alright, so a couple things. So if you have a negative underneath a square root, make the number positive so it becomes a positive 5 and then pull an I out in front. So basically what's happening is the following. You're treating it as the square root of negative 1 multiplied by the square root of 20. Well, the square root of negative 1 is just the I, and then you have the square root of 20. Now, Murphy's bumping my arm. Okay, buddy. So the square root of 20, if you do the prime factorization, will break down to I times the square root of 2 times 2 times 5. And since you have a pair of 2's, 1 will come out, so you have 2i square roots of 5. All right, now we're going to deal with a quadratic that will be complex. So we can see how that works in terms of ignore that. See how it works when we're dealing with the square root and so forth. All right, so I've decided to use the quadratic, and remember that the formula is the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and again, this piece under the radical is the discriminant, and then it's all over 2a, and again I emphasize all over 2a. So negative b, the opposite of b, so it's a positive in the equation, it'll come in as a negative, plus or minus. Now we'll have this 5 squared minus 4 times negative 2 times negative 6 all over 2 times negative 2. This becomes negative 5 plus or minus the square root. And so we have 25 minus, because we have 3 negatives, and 4 times 6 is 24 times 2 is 48, so minus 48 all over a negative 4. Well, 25 minus 48 is negative 23. So this is a negative 5 plus or minus the square root of negative 23 over negative 4. Now, this piece here is going to become positive, and we put that I out in front, and that's the recording of the fact that we had that negative underneath the radical. Okay. Now, with complex numbers, you're supposed to have a real part and a complex part. So really, what we would write is negative 5 over negative 4 plus or minus I square roots of 23 over negative 4. Now, a couple of things that you can do. We have the negative over the negative. Well, that's just a positive 5 over 4. No big deal. Okay? But we have a negative and a plus or minus. Now, you can flip your signs and then move the negative in, and then positive becomes a negative, and the negative becomes a positive. And so then you have I square roots of 23 over 4. And since you would do both of them, you actually have the liberty of just writing it as plus or minus if you forget. But we technically should write it minus over plus, indicating that we've moved the negative over. And those are your solutions. Okay. Hopefully that helps. I'll talk to you later.